but now it's time to hit social media for cash tags. And for that, we're going to bring in Andy Swan. He's the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. And we're taking a look at a name that we typically don't look at, but it is in the retail space. And that's been the theme over the last couple of weeks with these retail names. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're talking GES and GES jeans, and we're having a discussion before we started here. But what are you guys seeing as far as LikeFolio goes on this particular name?
Well, I can tell you, GES jeans were the in thing when I was in middle school. Not to date myself. I mean, that was like what all the cool kids wore. Now it's kind of gone the way of the outlet mall, I'm afraid. But you know, on LikeFolio data, we're looking for mentions of people shopping at these stores or specifically buying GES jeans. The problem with that on our side is the word GES is used in a lot of ways that don't mean jeans. So we have to be very, very specific about what we look for. So our sample size is a little lower than we would like, but what we do see when we look at GES is purchase intent mentions dropping in Q4/Q1 of 2018/19. In a way that's pretty dramatic from a year ago period. And what that tells us is that at least in English-speaking America, you know, the GES jeans are falling out of favor and less people are going to the stores. We got some confirmation of that from the last earnings call. We think we're going to see an acceleration of that trend on this one. The company's got a new CEO. They're very global in nature. And so there's a lot of caveats with this one in terms of our data, but in terms of just zoning in on that, you know, U.S. presence, we do think GES is really struggling.
Andy, this topic has caused me some pain here because it has unleashed Jenny Horn's slew of dad jokes on GES jeans. And so I'm under a little bit of pressure here, but from a trading perspective, you know, this stock is 22 bucks and I get what you're saying. GES jeans just don't pop up on everyone's radar. Remember Gerbeau's? Remember Gerbeau jeans? I used to wear those.
Sergio Valentes?
Yeah, oh, geez. Sergio Valente. But anyway, this name seems like a name from my past. So the fact that they're still in business kind of surprises me even.
Yeah, it does me too. And I think, you know, the other thing that we've found with LikeFolio data on this name, which is kind of cool, is, you know, we're only right directionally on this stock in terms of on an earnings move 40% of the time. So 60% of the time we're wrong. But what generally has happened in the past 6 years is when we're right, the move is extremely large and it makes up for those smaller moves that go against us. And so I think that's important to note. You know, we're bearish on GES going into this, but we're putting it out there with kind of the expectation that we're wrong a lot of the times. It's just when we're right, it goes really, really well our way.
Yeah, and that also dives into the fact that the anticipated market maker move in here is plus or minus 13% on a $22 stock. So that's pretty significant. But for more on social media and acid wash jeans and mom jeans.
And dad jokes.
Yeah.
And she majored in dad jokes at U of I.
We'll bring in TD Ameritrade Network's own Jenny Horn, the queen of the acid wash jean. So what are we seeing on social media in this company?
Andy hit on pretty much exactly what I saw this morning, which is when you search GES, it pulls up pretty much every tweet with the word GES in it, so kind of irrelevant. But more importantly, GES jeans haven't really been relevant since middle school, for me too, which just cracks me up. Because
since Reagan's first term as governor.
Because I associate GES with malls. And I mean, foot traffic is so down that you kind of see that on social media. No one talks about GES anymore.
Yeah, you look at L Brands and some of the other names that are mall-based.
Well, right. Here's the question then. What jean companies are they talking about?
Well, Levi's going public is cool. Okay, yeah, so that's
IPO.
A really relevant company right now.
Yeah.
And just not GES. I don't know what happened, but it's just not something
they're really growing
internationally
in Europe and Asia. That's where their big push is because they're not that relevant here anymore.
Exactly, and they have beaten on 5 of their last 8 quarters, but I mean, still not super successful. So I don't know. Our first tweet is from Tackle Trading, who says, large cap stock Wheaton Precious Metals, mid cap Williams Sonoma, and small cap GES Inc. highlight the short list of names set to report earnings Wednesday after market close. So like I said, 5 of 8 earnings beats, but what are we watching ahead of post-market today?
Well, I mean, I don't really follow this company that much. It doesn't trade a lot of options on it, but I have to, I'll probably defer to Andy on this just based on their data. kind of what we've been stating, the obvious. But Andy, just to reiterate the fact that your data is reflecting that maybe this won't be that quarter, because the stock's back up to where nearly where they were pre-earnings last quarter, and they fell after those results.
Yeah, they've had a really big rally over the last little while, and I think the risk is definitely to the downside on this company. Like Kevin said, the expected move is really big. There's a lot of uncertainty. They've got a new CEO. They're launching a new swimwear line, which we're going to be watching really closely as we head into the summer months. But for now, we think the risk is to the downside on GES. But again, you've got to be risk defined on these types of companies because there's a lot of unknowns.
It looks like it grinds higher and then gaps lower. Did you notice that? It looks like some of the big candles that you see in this name are all to the downside.
Yep. Yeah, we see that on the chart.
Tomorrow we'll be covering members only, by the way, to finish out the week on a strong note.
All right, Jenny, you got one more tweet.
I do. Our next tweet is from Ernest, who says, I've never had luck with fits, same brand and size, buying online. Yes, I'm looking at you, Guess. Still a loyal customer, but I always have to try them on in store. I wish brands would accept a 3D body scan, then tell me what fits. I'd put this on auto renew. I hate shopping. So this was really one of the few English-speaking tweets I saw on Guess. So kind of their thoughts on 3D body scan.
Well, think about that. The trend is to buy online, right? And now you have all these other sites out there that you basically give them your measurements. I mean, literally, I have 12 pairs of the same brand, same size pants in different colors because of that fact that you find it in
consistency,
your consistency, and obviously that's not.
There's a dad joke in there somewhere because that's what I have 30 pairs of khakis in my closet.
I knew that you were going to say something like that.